What's up, guys? I'm gonna play my Rush Hour from this week. What I decided to do is use the auto team that I used earlier in the week to get to G1 and see how it would finish during Rush, which I did it last week, just a few hits, and I started higher than this week and ended up C3. So we're gonna let it play and see how it goes. It's full auto the whole way. I target a couple times where I just pick a unit, especially if it's a matchup that I feel like I have no chance of it picking correctly and I don't want to lose. So that's about as non-auto as it gets. This is double time because it's a really slow comp. I started, let's see if I check the time here. I started with about 45 minutes of Rush, and I want to say I started somewhere in C3. So the same team as before. The theory again is triple fire is going to focus fire on one unit, while the Archangel will take a lot of hits, and it's my tankiest unit. So hopefully they'll get them low and they'll just start crushing them. With this one, them going after the Perna is good, and I think a lot of the reason why this comp works is they're really pretty fast compared to some opponents. Like the Pernas, I want to say 237. The Lyca's around 209, which is pretty fast for a Vampire Lyca. The Rakuni's on the slow side. I want him going last because I want him to resurge. Hopefully the Perna, because the Perna should have the lowest bar. So we get double Perna hits, and anytime you can give Perna another turn, he gets a chance for violent procs, and that's when things die. This is a pretty tough comp, especially because they focus fire the Wind Panda. What's nice is the way on auto it'll split the target between the 3 fire guys and the wind guys. So if there's like a Wind Panda, the Eladriel's working on something else, so it's not getting revenged. It works really well when you have revenge like Theos or Lycas or something like that. So sometimes targeting is actually worse than letting them go on auto. This team anyway. I think what's working in my favor is just that Panda's pretty slow. And it's not able, there's no real dedicated healer, and so that one heal over time is not quite enough to sustain. But this is a pretty scary defense. If I brought my normal bomb offense, probably would work, but you never know. Especially, I would bring my Sekhmet against their Sekhmet, both with speed leads, 24% with my Sierra and their Chiwu. And you just never know. You never know if someone's going to have a crazy Sekhmet. So this one goes on for a little bit. I think we win. Gosh, that Molong is so good. I think Molong would be a really, really good unit to have, especially for RTA, because you can build him as tanky as you want. He's a stripper, which you need as many of those as you can get in RTA, and he has an uncounterable nuke that ignores element. And the nuke is great, but also the threat of the nuke completely changes the way the game is played. I mean, if you're trying to deal with a Molong, you're focusing trying to stun him, which means you're pouring your DPS into their highest effective health, most likely. You're healing suboptimally. You know, you're okay. I can't get below 70% or something like that. So Molongs can just change the match, especially if they're violent. They get that cooldown back up. So I'm glad this is on double time. It's kind of relaxing to do Rush Hour and not worry about it, kind of. I mean, I have to pick the right target, but once it's time to go, they just go. Like that one, I picked the Water Fairy King. Because left unchecked, he was going to just wreck my full fire team. And then I selected the Perna again. So they're still going on their own, but I did pick a couple targets in this match. The Chasun is always just going to be a problem. It's interesting to see all the different defenses on Conk 3, G1, something like that. There's quite a bit of variety. You see some P-Samas, but sometimes no bar booster, and so you know you're going to be able to go first. And then there's still kind of a split of tanky, weak, like in terms of HP. Like I would think Alicia would love to hit this defense because they're guaranteed to kill on P-Sama and probably on Perna as well. And they're just going to clean it up. So it's interesting. It's not quite optimal, I don't think. I had to double check. What is that? That's a Pontos. Okay. So in terms of threat, it's just the Perna. Everything else is disruption and heals. So that's not a big deal. I think this defense probably counters a lot of like Lucians, anything with, you know, cleave, bomber. So it covers a lot. So that's why it's probably really, really good. But the threat isn't quite there for a sustain. I mean, why? How can you? You can't threaten sustain teams and bombers and cleave. So you got to pick, and no one's doing this because it's not smart. It's too slow. So no one's doing this. So it's interesting to see it fight something that it's not tuned to beat, you know. And it's doing its job. I mean, it is hanging in there. Especially if that Praha gets a heal, like when everybody's low. I mean, these fights can go and go and go. So now my guys are trying to figure out who they want to hit. They don't want to hit Praha, but they can't decide between Amduat and Pontos. But as soon as one of them gets a little bit low, they just focus. It's interesting because Eladriel got in there as well, because it was element neutral. And then when it's not low anymore, it goes back to the Praha. I really think those Leica stuns make this comp work. I mean, they try to AoE, different things try to AoE, and it just disrupts enough, steals a turn. The benefit of having Leica and Perna in there as well is they hit so hard that they help the other units decide on what to focus fire. Because like as soon as something's low, they all just gang up on them. So we got another Pisama lead here. Pisama Perna is really, really good with the Varad. I'm still not quite... My Perna's fast, but you have to trade speed for... At least I do. You have to trade speed for HP, and it just doesn't quite work the way I would like. So now we've got triple fire against double water, but I've got lots of sustain. Especially Pisama's like... They can't live very long. They destroy anything they can't sustain, but if you're sustaining, they're not really a threat. Especially with no defense break on my team. Like with the 50% defense lead, if you don't have a defense break, it's going to be a problem. So I have the same defense set as well, which I think is kind of fun. Claiming my wings, I think I'm going to do a refill here in a little bit. That would be an interesting team. Wonder why I didn't hit that. Alright, so I'm refreshing. I don't like anything I'm seeing. Oh yeah, this is fun. So the Tiana went first, but now I'm coming back at it. It has no way for that Tiana to recover. But really, with the Dark Desert Queen, I don't know her name, Nephistiles or something, she's going to be really, really good in this comp because it's an AoE defense break with the the Pisama following it up and the Leica, and I bet this comp just wrecks people. So I'm just letting my guys do their thing, check in on them eventually. But I thought I would set this as my defense too, so I'm using the same 4 units, offense and defense, and my theory is if it can do so well full auto on offense, it probably does pretty well on defense as well. But I mean, I know what it's weak to. It's Alicia's are going to just eat it up. I feel like Lucians are going to have a harder time because of the Perna reset. But I don't know. I haven't tested against Lucians. The Rakuni's pretty tanky. If they get crits, though, the Leica's going to die to any Lucians. So I'm typing the time in there. It's 11:30. So I got 30 minutes left to rush. So I've gone about 15 minutes. And I'm feeling pretty good. I'm right around rank 300. I don't have a real defense in, and most people don't start really attacking yet. So it's a little bit misleading. It's kind of like when I got up into Guardian in the middle of the week. Like, you can get up in the middle of the week because, no one's trying. No one's spending mass amount of wings. People are just farming for glory. So that was that one. I think I hit a Gildy here at some point. That was not cool of me. An accident. This is an interesting one because it's threatening a lot of different ways. It's got the really, really fast frigate. The Praha is good against Lucians, and then it's got, I mean, it's going to go faster than everyone else with the Pisama. So it's like, it's going to go first. It's going to mess you up with the Panda. The frigate might stun you. I like that defense a lot. I'm targeting the Praha, so you know that it's a problem. Because there's no point for me in giving that Wind Panda as many turns as it's going to get. I'd rather go after the Praha. Because if Praha's going to heal, at least I'm not getting revenged with a defense break every time. And now it begins. Panda is such a problem in RTA because it lasts until no one has any health. And then if it's the last one here, it has a ton of defense, it's defense breaking, it's cleansing, it's just so much worse in RTA. I mean, it's bad here. I'd say in terms of places the Panda is hated, RTA is probably #1. I'd say Guild Wars is #2 because there's just not, it's hard to bring enough kit to deal with it and the threats around it. And everybody brings threats that are going to counter what kills the Wind Panda, so makes it tough. This defense has no threat to me. I'm not sure what the thought is. I mean, clearly they want to go first. They've got the Speed Leak, got the Bernard. They want to strip because they have 2 strippers. But then there's no threat that I can see other than just disruption. And I don't know that there's enough. I don't think they can disrupt enough to kill anyone that's coming after them. They just want to go first. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the thought is. I mean, there's a little bit of sustain with the Iris, but I mean, what do you? I don't know. There's what, 2 defense breaks, the lead and the Bernard. This was not my favorite defense. It was just a fast defense. All right, so I'm at 246 here. So I climbed into G1. Oh gosh, that water defense. No way. If my bombers were ready to go, that might work, but no. So this defense is interesting. It's got the Freya. The Freya being like a cleave counter and maybe a bomb counter. Because if you kill it, the match starts over and it's dead. With the Ritesh and the part of the Camilla, you've got 3 tanks, defense break, a little bit of sustain. I have a Freya, I just haven't figured out what I want it to do. Because in my mind, if you put it on Will, then it's easier to kill things around it. And if you put it 100% resist, because you don't want to get Zyrost and lose the cooldown on the full heal, then it might resist the defense break, and then maybe it won't die. So it's like, what's the optimal spot for a Freya? And sometimes having the Freya as your 4th slot weakens the comp so much that you can just single target it before you get going on your combo. So I don't know. I think it's a delicate balance to get the Freya exactly where you want it. So again, a couple defense successes with this team. But I dropped out of Guardian, so I'm like, okay, so I'm going to put up my stall. There's my stall arena. I had to double check because I have 2 of them. And see how that goes. Which, it doesn't go well. Spoilers. It's a little early for the stall, and people see that, and they're just going to feast on it. So it's 11:38, about 22 minutes left in Rush. So we can even speed this up a little more. Let's do 2.5. We're going to really book it here. I don't know if you can follow this. It might be too fast. Yeah, that's a little too fast. Let's slow it down. 2:30. So this comp, the Chiwu Orion, not really a threat. I think it's just because my damage dealers can sustain and kill through a Camilla, even though they're fire. It's not a problem. It's that 50% defense. Just takes a while, which is the point of Camillas, I think. Orion just takes so many turns. As my Eladriel takes 4 in 2. Alright. So we're at 346. We're heading in the wrong direction. Checking the bottom of this first. This is an interesting one. I think I want to fight that one, yeah. It's got the HP lead. But other than that, it's just a Rakan, which Rakan really isn't an issue with the amount of sustain I have. But I do target. I target the Valkyria first because those things always do a ton of damage. They build them really, really DPS-y, because they can't take any defense breaks, and they just dish it out. So I wanted that down first. So in terms of teams this can auto, a team like this is, a decent threat. It's killable, but you don't have to, I guess, but you want a single target just to make it a little more reliable. And with their cons in general, you kind of, I like to leave them alone until they have no support at all, because they're dangerous enough by themselves, and you start giving them heals and random defense breaks and stuns, and they're just gross. I was lucky that Praha didn't heal him before he went down. But the Eladriel is the ultimate, like, safety blanket. And I'm wondering, like, I'll have to watch this again. I'm wondering how many times he actually revived over the course of the rush hour. Because if he's not reviving, he's providing a heal, which there's lots of ways to provide a heal. And he's stripping a little bit with his skill 1, but, I mean, a Chasun in his spot might be a way better call, because you're getting the stronger heals and the attack buff, which, with Leica and Perna, that might be really nice. I'll have to try that with the Chasun. But I think I need some sort of tank, either water or wind. So I could use my Praha, so I'm just getting destroyed if you saw that list. Let's see. I think Chasun makes sense. I would love to be able to get a defense break in here. I'm just having trouble figuring out what unit can provide enough of what Eladriel provides and provide defense break, and I'm not coming up with much. Something with a little bit of a heal and a defense break. It's tough. I think I wouldn't mind like an Iris in this comp, because you've got more sustain, you've got strip, you've got stun, but then our only healing is Raccoon and Perna. Probably not enough. Yeah, maybe next week I'll try with Chasun, because I think if I'm not reviving, then what's the point? There's not a lot of other passive healers that can kind of fill that slot. Like Raccoon and Perna are kind of, they're it. So I'm down to 600. I'm like, okay, so that didn't work at all. I cratered when I switched to my stall. It was too soon. I mean, I was just getting beat up. So I switched back to something with a little more threat and just a little different. I think that can go a long way. Because you see something, you see a stall, and you know there's no threat. You know you can clear it. If it takes an extra turn, it's no big deal. But yeah, it was not doing anything there. Finding just the right defense is tough, and knowing when to put in the stall. I have the double mummies. I built them just for fun because I've seen some people doing it. Tried it a couple times. It felt to me like it was too many runes for units that I was using, 10, 15 minutes a week. I feel like there's got to be, a better mix that can be a threat and also deter. So there's some light and dark Nat Force that would go a long way, like an Amduat or a Beta. But if you don't have them, what are you gonna do? So this team, this defense is another one of those Freya defenses. It's interesting because they're using Freya for cleave and bomb-ish, and then Praha for Lucians. And they're all really high res with the Praha lead. I think the Ritesh Perna is a good combo because of the defense break. Like that's a nice combo. I wonder if the Freya is, I don't know. I wonder how much mileage they're getting out of their Freya here. I don't know. Because if they Lucian him down, the Freya's probably not going to die from the first Lucian. But then the Praha heals up. I don't know. I don't know if you're Lucianing into this anyway with the Perna. So it worked really well against my Eladriel, because they defense broke and then the Perna just blew it up. So I'm single targeting now to get rid of their Perna. Because that Ritesh is just tanking like crazy. So that Ritesh is getting it done. Once the, oh, another heal. Once their Perna went down, I had a little more chance with the Ritesh, because every time that Perna was violent proccing, it was a 20% heal. And with a Ritesh, that's too much sustain. It's hard to get through. So that was, I think, my closest to a loss when the Eladriel went down. So I'm up a little bit, but still 600 in C3. And it's getting late. I feel like I might have lost at this point. I might have lost my window to stick in G1. You just get one little burst of people feasting on you, and it's over. So this team, it's got speed. It's got the Lucian Deterrent. The Leo is interesting. I mean, I guess that's another speed counter against speed comps. I'd be interested to see how this fares against a lot of teams, because I feel like speed Lucians, it depends on what that Wusa's on. It depends on what that Wusa's on. But Lucians are going to get Prahad probably. And that Prahad's fast with that leader. You know, it's interesting thinking through people's thought process on different defenses and how it's supposed to work. That's what I find interesting about Arena and Rush Hour especially, because people are putting up defenses they think will give them their best chance. That's just Wusa. A lot of variety, I mean, in the C3 G1 range. So I'm down even further. I'm down almost 800. So I am tanking down. So alright, I'm like, okay, so let's stall again, because clearly what I was doing before wasn't working. So I'll go back to stall. This is about as stall as I get with the Sekhmet, Kamoon, Rina, Eladriel. And replacing Eladriel in that stall might be a good idea also. I don't know. Eladriel's a tricky monster, because when she works really well. And you're like, oh, thank goodness I had that res, and that heal came to just the right time. But when she's not working, she just sits there and does nothing. She doesn't have, like the Aerial doesn't have the attack bar boost, doesn't have the cleanse plus immunity of Veligil, so. But then I feel like if they buffed her even just a little bit, it could just go way too powerful. You know, like even one more turn off the revive would be kind of a big deal. So we're just finishing up this Camilla, and we'll move on. We're almost done with Rush here. So pretty much locked into C3. I think that was that the last fight? Let's check the time here. Yep, that's it. So 788. So we finished C3, autoing, a couple targeting. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back with some more videos, and if you enjoyed it, you know, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.